Hello everybody, how are you all doing today? My name is Silver Prince and welcome to my channel and also welcome to my first ever full-length video. As you guys probably know if you came from my other channel that was exclusively just AMVs and shorts about different Vanguard topics, I obviously don't make videos like this often and I never really have before in general. So like I said, it's my first video, so I'm super glad to be here and I'm super excited to get into it. So I decided with my first video, what I wanted to talk about was just my thoughts of all the seasons and ranking them on a tier list. I figured that'd be a fun way to just talk about how much I love the anime and whatnot like that. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So starting off with season one, like let's be real here, this S tier right off the bat. Season one, OG season, it started everything for Vanguard, and it's probably the season I rewatched the most because obviously it was the start of Vanguard. It was very well, it did a really good job explaining the game, especially that I like because of the fact that it took multiple episodes to really break down each part of the game. I always find it funny whenever I rewatch it and I realize that the first fight between Kai and Aichi, Kai didn't use Twin Drive when he had Dragonic Overlord. Whenever I see that, I think that's super funny. But it really makes you think, like, okay, well, they could have definitely crammed in the Twin Drive ability too, but they really were just more focused on just, explaining how the game works before diving into more things down the line. Like how eventually when Aichi fought Misaki, that's when we learned about Twin Drive. When he fought Kamui, that's when we learned about the Mulligan and further on so forth down the line. So that was a really good way to get into the game in general. Something that I do love about this season, and I would say between this season and the first season they do that, and then after that they kind of lose it, is the fact that the game felt, I don't know how to describe it, more realistic. Not in terms of, the whole alien species, planet Cray, stuff like that. But I mean in kind of the same way that Yu-Gi-Oh! GX feels compared to like something like Zexal, because Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, when you see them duel, like you see them draw a card, it feels like, yeah, I can see myself drawing a card like that. When I see them play a card, it's like, yeah, I can see them playing a card like that. Like it feels like natural. Like real characters, real people would play it like that. Versus something like I said, Zexal, where they're doing really dramatic draws and everything that isn't realistic. And in terms of Vanguard, it's like by Link Joker and onwards, they just start being able to just have a card float from the deck, or what else? They just throw the card and just magically lands in place. Season one and two, physical damage checks where they physically place it in there. It's not just getting thrown there. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like it's a big nitpick for me that will take away points from any of the other seasons, but it just feels super smooth and clean like that for me within this season and the second season. So I really do like that. Talking about the characters, I really like that all the characters had like a good time to shine. Obviously the main cast all got their, you learned about who they were, how they came to where they are, and had plenty of moments to show off how good they were and progress through the series. And it's not even just the main characters of Aichi, Kai, Misaki, and Kamui. You have villains like Team Asteroid with obviously the GOAT Ren, super great villain and everything like that. Asuka had time to shine, Tetsu had time to shine, even Kyo had time to shine. And I was never a Kyo fan, but I can't lie. I don't mind when he's on screen, even though I'm not a fan of him personally like that. And even side characters, Morikawa had enough time to shine to make me like him more after the first like episode when he was just a jerk. And my goat Miwa, oh my god, he's probably like my second favorite character of most of the OG era of Vanguard. Like he's awesome. And even he had time to shine too. Not his deck per se, but as a character, he had time to shine, which was really cool. So I think all the characters were done really well. This season had some of the most iconic decks of the game, obviously, first decks to come out. Blaster Blade, Overlord, Phantom Dragon, Phantom Blaster Dragon. All of them got so many remakes over the years, obviously because of how iconic they were. Heck, even currently in standard, they got two remakes with the one that came out at the start of Overdress, and now they're getting these icon decks. And not even just these. Armon is obviously getting its icon deck too, which is super cool, and I hope Well, actually, when I think about it, I can't really think of much other season one decks that should get, remade into icon decks. Because we already have like Luquier for Pale Moon. Um, yeah, I can't really think of too many season one decks. I guess most of the season one decks already got remake that I personally think is really cool anyway. So yeah, this season was great with their decks and everything, and obviously very iconic. The pacing of the season was also really good. Like I didn't really feel like there was much filler at all. Like any episode that might have felt like filler was more of just a lesson to learn along maybe a goofy episode or something. Like oh we're going to the beach to train. It's like okay, well he either learned some skills there or he got a new card for his deck. So it wasn't completely filler overall. So that was really cool. The plot itself was really good. I do like that it was out of the gate, like, you know, the more supernatural, well, out of world elements, I could say, psyqualia and stuff like that. They could have easily just made it a realistic card game until future seasons and then shown it was aliens and everything like that. Kind of like how Yu-Gi-Oh did it, even though the Pharaoh was in their season one, obviously. So, but besides that, uh, yeah, so that was really cool. Red as a villain, like I said, was a great, was amazing, so iconic. A big part of why I like to rewatch it so much because Ren is goaded. And the Dark Archie part was also really good. And let's be real, the best fight of the season was 100% the Kai versus Ren fight. So iconic, just so good. This season, 100% earned that S tier. Now we're going on to season two. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling season two as much as season one, but I don't think it was as bad as I've heard people complain about it either. I hear a lot of people say it's like the worst of the OG era, and I could see it, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I do like it more than Legion. You'll see where I put Legion down the line. Let me think about this. I think it was very bold to take the popular clans out of the story, with obviously Royal, Shadow Paladins, and Kagero getting taken out and replacing them with Gold Paladins, Narukami, and Aquaforce. I think that was very bold, but it worked so well because those three clans are some of the most iconic clans in the game now, still. Like Narukami, Gold Paladin, and Shadow Paladin are my top three favorite clans. So Golden Narukami being introduced this season was really cool for me, which I still really like. And speaking of it, the decks were also really cool. Kaiser Vermilion, super sick. I wasn't a big Ezo person, but I like Ezo too. It was pretty cool. A lot of fans of Ultimate Dayusha and everything. Of course, I can't not mention them. And one of my top, probably in my top 10 favorite decks being Spectral Duke Dragon. I hope that gets an icon deck. I would love for it to get an icon deck. But, that was really good. The characters had a lot of good growth too. Aichi really locked in this season in terms of like growing up, because like a good chunk of the season was him just crying over the Royal Paladins, which kind of fair. That was your deck. You literally had that whole like out of world connection with the deck, and then the deck's gone, so that's kind of fair. But then he locks in, he accepts Gold Paladin as his deck, and he moves forward, and that's what leads to future Aichi, which you just gotta love. Like it was a really good progression from season one to season three of Aichi becoming more confident over time, which was really good. This season also had Kai being a little more empathetic this season, which was also really good. Like it made the character who seemed more wimpy be more tough, and the character who just seemed way too tough be more emotional, which was great. I absolutely love that. Obviously, season one Ren is goaded, but after this season forward, that Ren becomes my favorite. Like you gotta love Goofy Ren. Like you can't not love him. He's so intimidating while also being so goofy and adorable and whatnot like that. So yeah, I gotta love that. But I'm not gonna lie, as great as all those were, the plot was okay. Leon as a villain, I forgot to mention, great villain as well. I love that his whole reason wasn't just, oh, I want to rule the world or be the best. Like he wanted to save his clan. Psycholia kind of took advantage of him by using that power and stuff. I think that was really cool. Aquaforce also, maybe not one of my favorite decks in the game, but still so much aura. Love that deck too. I love the clan too. What else now? Okay, Leon as a villain was great. I don't even remember the names of the group of kids that were also the villains. All I remember about them were that they were kids and they were geniuses. And the main one had a weird ponytail and a bowl cut that worked out really weird. One had grandma glasses with the whole, I think they were like the beaded chains that like wrap around the glasses so he doesn't drop them. And then the red hair one that was a flirt. Like that's all I remember about. Oh, and they used great nature. That's all I remember about them. So those villains kind of felt pretty unnecessary. I don't know why they were there, to be honest with you. Besides that though, there was some good fights too. I like to think about Kai versus Leon, Aichi versus Ren. I love Ren, so that was naturally up there. That was like one of the two fights Ren had all season. But I love Spectro Duke, so obviously that was iconic for me too. And yeah, so this season, it was it was good. I can't say it was great or anything, so this is definitely going to B tier right here. It was good, not great, not okay at most either, I like it, but I understand if people saying it's not as good. But now, here we go. Season 3, Link Joker. How can this be anything less than S tier? And by the way, I'm not putting it like, oh, I like this one more than this. I'm just gonna put them like listed here. I might say like I like one more than the other in it, but I'll probably just line them up normally like that. But Link Joker season 3, mwah, peak Vanguard right there. That is so many other people's favorite season for a reason. And still to this day is probably so many people's favorite season. And you cannot blame them for that because that season is just so peak. You know, what can I say that you haven't heard before, I constantly listen to Break Your Spell because that's like one of my favorite Vanguard openings ever. Super good. The plot was really good and never felt badly paced. I really like that it started off more as that slice of life because they got a chance to show us the new characters, show us the characters that we're going to see down the line that might be reversed and everything like that. And by the time we get to the whole Link Joker invasion part, it felt like we knew the new characters for a long time already. Speaking of the new characters, Naoki is easily top 5 characters in the entire of the whole original era. Naoki is just so goated. You gotta love him as a character. You gotta love his decks too. Eradicator's Brawler's awesome. Shingo was another new character, easily top 5 most annoying in the show, but you gotta love him for the same reason maybe you love like your little brother, like very little brother energy. Korin being added to the main cast was also super cool. A little weird when you think about that that's like a grown adult going to high school now, but if you don't think about that, still super cool. Either way, it's still super cool, like I said. But it was also really cool to have her in the group because she was handled really well. Like she wasn't invincible, but she wasn't weak either. They could have easily just made her damsel in distress, but they didn't. What else? The decks of this season. Oh man. Oh man, this the decks of this season are just too much, bro. You know what my top three favorite decks in Vanguard is? Revengers for number one, Eradicators for number two, Liberators for number three. This season introduced archetypes within the clans, which made it so cool because I just love archetypes when it comes to stuff like this. Like obviously you can have a deck based off of just the clan in general, but archetypes make it feel so connected that I love it like that. Like I love having a full deck full of eradicators, you know. That was super cool. Liberators, same reason. Revengers, oh man, I want to build a Revenger deck so bad, but it's pricey, and I won't ever get to play it. I do have an Eradicator deck that was really cool, revolving around not Vowing Sword Dragon. It was I forgot its name. It's the electric looking dragon. I remember that was super cool. That and Descendant. It revolved around those two, the Break Ride. Speaking of that, Break Ride was probably my favorite thing I love. I forgot to mention Limit Breaks, but Limit Break and Break Ride are both awesome gimmicks. Like I love that continued on to G that they could do that if they really wanted to, even though Striding was the main gimmick. But I don't feel like any other gimmick has ever, you know, matched up to the energy that Break Ride specifically and limit breaks they had. So that was super cool. Another deck I forgot to mention was obviously the name of the thing, Link Joker. Link Joker was just aura incarnate, bro. Like I don't know what it was, but no, I do know what it was. Link Joker's look was so sleek and so sick. You know, you had the white with well, most of them had like white armor with the red and black rings, super sick. You know, I think about Chaos Breaker, which is getting an icon deck. Nebula Lord Dragon, which wasn't white, still looks super cool. Infinite, even even though I don't love Infinite Zero as much, still super cool. You know, the lock mechanic, crazy, awesome, super annoying to go against, but still really cool, you know? So this season, 100%, 1,000% deserved that S tier rank. Now we're going on to Legion. Legion was okay to me. You know, Legion, I think it was very bold. Oh, I forgot to mention that too about Link Joker. I know I'm ranting about it already, but Kai being the villain of Link Joker was super great too. That fight between Aichi and Kai, and even Ren and Kai, are still some of my favorite in the series in general. You know, those fights are just so good. But anyway, though, back to Legion. Legion was very bold with the way that Aichi wasn't the main character anymore and Kai was the main character. Now, I wasn't opposed to it because Kai by itself is a great character and getting more Kai time, especially after he was just the villain, was really cool. But I don't feel like it was executed as well, you know? Like I feel like it could have definitely have been much better. We had Aichi just randomly disappeared and gone. Everyone's questioning it. Kai's the only one that does remember him, and he slowly gets everyone on his side so that they could, win back Aichi. But I don't know. I wasn't really feeling the whole plot with the whole like, oh yeah, Aichi's holding Link Joker and he has to be asleep and everything. You know, like I would understand if maybe Aichi was like on Cray, even like doing some, blocking out Link Joker or whatever. But just him being on the moon, I was like, oh wow, that's okay. The Choir Knights were an interesting bunch. Gallard is definitely still one of my favorite characters in the show. His deck is one of my favorites as well. I already said I love Liberator. As much as I love Break Ride Liberator, Bluish Flame Liberator is my favorite Liberator. Those are just so cool. I hope they get an icon deck as well. Please, they brought back brawlers. Bring back liberators. Please, I would love to see you get back. Get his chance to shine again. Patreon dragons. I never know how to pronounce it. Those, oh my God! Please give me one of Vortex Dragonoot. I don't get me wrong. I love Dragonic Overlord the Great. Vortex Dragonoot carried me in Vanguard Zero so hard that I want to build that deck so bad too. But it's like $30 for one copy of the card. The deck is really pricey, but I still love it so much. I'm eventually gonna buy. I'm eventually one day gonna make a deck. Maybe I'll make a frame of it for something. Vortex Dragonoot. Oh my God, one of my favorite. That's probably my number four in Vanguard of the OG series decks. Super cool, and one of the reasons I love Kagero. But besides those really good points, like I wasn't really feeling the rest of the season. A lot of characters came and gone. By the end of it, Misaki and Kamui weren't even with Kai. It was just Kai, Leon, and Ren, which made sense. They were the strongest. They weren't going to lose, but still, it's like, come on, man. Like, really? Um, Blaster Joker was pretty cool too, I guess. But yeah. Oh, Legion as a gimmick, I felt was really cool as well. I do like it less than Break Ride and Limit Break, but I think I like it more. Slightly less than Striding. Less than Striding, but more than any other gimmick that we got after Striding. So, yeah, I think Legion, it gets a solid, like, it's okay. But continuing off of Legion is the movie. And I'm also going to put it at okay. Now, I know that's probably a controversial thing. Actually, you know what? I'll put it in. Not, yeah, it stays in okay. I was really thinking about it. It might be controversial because that's Vanguard's one and only movie right now. Even though we're getting our new Divines movie, I'm so excited for that. But I doubt it's gonna be in theaters, but I kind of hope it's in theaters. I'm probably gonna see an empty theater, to be honest, because I have like no Vanguard community near me. But what's it called? Yeah, the movie. The art style was really like nice. I really like the art style, the change. That was definitely interesting. The villain being Ibuki and everything was really cool because I actually saw G first and then the movie because I didn't know the movie existed for some reason, and it made so much more sense where it came from. Especially if you remember the one G episode where, characters were fighting their, like, I don't know, like maybe characters they had problems with or whatever. And then I remember seeing Ibuki fight Ibuki and I was confused. And then I saw the movie, I was like, oh, he's fighting the leader Ibuki. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. You know, the leaders were super cool. It was way more like gruesome of a movie too for a card game. I remember the opening fight between Red and Ibuki where I forgot the leader's name, Talking to Leader Greyon, I think it is, or maybe that's just the V era one. But I remember it shoving its hand through Blaster Dark Revenger, and I was like, "Damn, why are you doing my boy like that?" You know. And then sadly, we never saw Red for the rest of the movie, which sucked. Why is he on the poster? If he had that 5 seconds of screen time, But yeah, yeah, Ibuki was really pretty cool, but I don't know. It was an okay movie, Like I guess what can you really do with the card game movie as much like that? But yeah, it was just okay. I don't really have many thoughts on the movie. Art style was cool, plot was okay, villain was pretty cool. That's all I can really say about it. Now we get onto the G era, and people are probably gonna hate me for this, but I kind of clumped the first 3 seasons of the G era into like one season. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what it was. It might be the fact that I rewatched the G era the least, probably of the original, premium format. But I think that's mainly just because as I'm rewatching it, by the time I get to Link Joker and finish up Link Joker, like something new already comes out, so I just start watching that and I never really get to rewatch the other seasons. But I don't know, G for me, if, as far as I remember, like I feel like I mean maybe it's to be real, it's probably because of the fact that the plot continued for the first 3 seasons. It was like the same villain they're defeating. But yeah, I kind of clumped them all together for me. But if I was cutting them up individually, I would have to give G season one to good, and then the other two were great. I'm not gonna lie. I do remember loving these seasons so much. I loved Shion and his character growth, from snotty rich kid to his whole like, I don't want to say his villain arc, but you know what I mean. Ibuki was also great being the whole mentor figure. Chrono was a great main character coming into it. I only give season one G good and the rest great because I feel like it was a little too slice of life, for me for season one, if that makes sense. I do like season one more than Asia Circa, I'm not gonna lie to you. But like I said, I wasn't gonna move it around like that. But yeah, I remember watching G season one and then I saw him stride for the first time and I thought it was just an instant win. And I was just like kind of confused for a while before they actually started showing more because that's just really what it made it look like. So in terms of like learning the game and everything, I wasn't really feeling it as much because I thought like, oh, so it's just whoever goes first instantly wins the game. That sucks, you know? But yeah, Gear Chronicle, really cool deck to come out. Not my favorite. Probably not. I can't even probably say it's in my top five to be honest with you. Like it was really cool, but I wasn't really as big of a fan of it until we saw like Chrono Fang Tiger and everything, because I felt like it was just all revolving around Chrono Jet. Main characters deck makes sense, but I do like when they branched out and showed there was more than other sides of Gear Chronicle. What else? Striding in general as a mechanic was really good. I do really like it. I wasn't feeling it as much as the other ones. I still like probably. Now, I'm gonna be honest now. I said earlier that I like Striding over Legion, but I actually like Legion over Striding to be honest, which is probably unpopular. But I don't know, like my whole thing of Vanguard is that like if my Vanguard is, let's say, Dragonic Overlord, right? Like I want to keep using Dragonic Overlord. That's my Vanguard. That's who I am. But then for the whole gimmick to be writing other units on top of it, it's like, okay, well I know the heart card of Dragonic Overlord, but it's like I'm kind of not Dragonic Overlord anymore. If that makes sense. I wasn't feeling it as much. I do like it now that I'm older and wish I did play G more because, like I said, I didn't have a locals. I think the only G decks I had were the Alt Mile starter deck and then also the Legend deck Toshiki Kai with the Ace, which that was probably my main deck because that was the first full deck I had. Fun fact about me, like I said, I don't have a locals, but I got into Vanguard because I told my mom I like it. I was a little kid, and she went on Amazon and got one of those just like 500 card bulk of Vanguard cards that you could find for cheap, and I was able to just build my decks with whatever random triggers, of course. And so I never really had a full-fledged deck until I got those. And I never really bought a lot of those either because of the fact that one, I was a kid, it wasn't my money, but two, I really hated the fact that a lot of those older decks, that's one thing I'll give like this whole first era and everything that I didn't like was that none of the decks came complete. You wanted Eradicator, Liberator, Revenger deck. You got one copy of Blaster Dark, Blaster Blade, and Vowing Sword Dragon. Like it sucked that they did that. That really got me annoyed because then I would have to buy four. I couldn't even afford one, and if I got one, I probably wouldn't draw into the cards I need. And then, like I said, I got the Altmile one, and they upped it to two, which was much better. Don't get me wrong, but I still wouldn't draw into Altmile, and I got that random grade three. I had to use that. Yeah. And the first full deck I had was the Legend deck Toshiki Kai, so I do really like that. Speaking of Toshiki Kai, one thing I gotta give the grade that we all know about it is Kai beating Shion's butt. That was so that was just so cool and so satisfying and just so funny. Not saying Shion deserved it. Do not get me wrong. But I just think about that clip where it's like Draconic Overlord, attack, the end, attack, the great, attack, the cross, attack. Like it was just him constantly killing Shion was probably the most iconic thing for me in all of the G era. Like that is just so funny to me when I think back at that and everything. So yeah, G this whole first part of the G era, it was really great. I still remember. Oh, another deck I really liked was Fenrir. That was a really good deck. I haven't really talked about decks of G. Obviously, I talked about Chronojet and the Ace and everything. But Alt Mile was a really cool deck to come out too. I felt like a different take of Royal Paladin versus Blaster Blade. You had Asha, which was also really cool. I really like that those two decks got remade in V, and I hope they get Icon decks too because they deserve it. I don't feel like those decks got enough love in modern day. I mean. Another deck, Fenrir. Oh man, I loved Fenrir so much. I really want them to make an icon. I want so many icon decks. Let's be real here. But that also was a really fun deck to play in Vanguard Zero. That was a lot of fun too. Besides that, yeah, there was a lot of cool decks. Dragonic Blade Master was really cool. I like to use that in Vanguard Zero as well. So yeah, a lot of cool decks like that too. Plot wise, it was good. The villain continued for the 3 seasons, so it felt more menacing by the time it got around. It felt really, really emotional too at times. Like it wasn't like a happy-go-lucky thing all the way around. So I really like it. That's why it gets great for me. I really like it. Now we get to G Next and GZ, right? And G Next introduced one of my favorite decks of the game, that being Luard. Luard is, oh my god, Luard or Avengers. It's just, oh man, I don't know which one I like more sometimes. Like Luar just feels like if I personally was playing Shadow Paladin and just wanted to show who I was, I would probably play Luard. But if it depends my mood. Luard between Avengers. It really depends my mood for which one I rather play. But yeah, Luard like definitely top five favorite decks. What else? Kazuma as a character was just great as well. Like like his deck, his story and everything. Really cool. I really like that he was that like I didn't like that he was a quitter at first, but like he got much better throughout that. He was a good character. He gave Naoki vibes in a way that he was very misunderstood and everything like that. The Diff Riders was also a really cool. The villains, that was a really cool concept for the villains. The way that it was, instead of, oh yeah, this is my avatar, I am Blaster Blade, it was like, no, Blaster Blade is me, which was like, whoa, that's cool. That's some crazy shit like that. Like that was really cool of a concept for a villain. And I wish we kind of got to see more of that down the line. Like they never really did it again after G, obviously, but that would have been cool to see more of. What else? I like that age up. You know, the characters Chrono, Shion, Asuka, like they, Asuka. Oh my god. Tokuha. Why did I say Asuka? What the heck? Tokuha. Like they really, the age up and the art style change looks really good. I especially love Tokuha's design because most of them were just in like pretty boring fits. You know, Shion being in a suit and tie makes sense. Chrono being in his school uniform, I guess, always kind of makes sense too, I guess. But actually, not even. I don't know why he was in his uniform for most of the show. But Tokuha definitely had the best fit of the new, change. I still love the decks, their upgraded versions and everything like that. I love like a lot of the new supporting characters too. You had oh my god, I forgot. Was it Toya? No, not Toya. Taizo. I forgot. The guy with Gurgit, the little kid. Like he was really cool. What else? Henri was really cool. I remember that's Shion's guy with the Narukami deck. Rin Hashima. Yeah, Rin. Rin was really cool to see on Shion's team too. She was a fun character. And yeah, I really liked it too. GZ I kind of fell off a little bit compared to it though. So I'll give Nex good. I like Nex really good. GZ I also give good because it's better than okay, but I was kind of falling off near the end. I do like seeing characters like Aichi return. That's another thing too. I like that G had all those characters returning too. Misaki was a store owner. Shin was still the shop manager. Kai was obviously a champion. All those other characters got the respect. Meanwhile, my goat had a full Shield Dragon deck, which is really good. Really cool. Um, Obviously, Aichi eventually came back too, which was really cool. Blaster Blade Exceed. Ren obviously was back as the clan. Was it clan leader? Yeah, it was clan leader, right? And the leader of the whole division. I wish they had that in real life so bad. It would be so cool to go to like a Dragon Empire event, or a Keter Sanctuary event with how it is because it's not United Century nowadays. But yeah, he came back with Diablo, which is a deck I also would really like to build. I'm just not into striding as much, like I said. But that was really cool to see the characters come back and everything like that. But besides that, yeah, it was good for me. It wasn't good, super crazy. Oh man, I'm only just finishing G and it's already 30 minutes in this video. Okay, let me try to talk a little less about the things like that. Okay, now we get to the V era, which is the era I crap on the most because I have so many bad things to say about this era. But let me try to start with some of the good things. Probably the best thing to come out of the V era for me personally was the accessibility to decks. Like I said, I hated the fact that a lot of decks came with one copy of a card, and by the G era, two copies of a card. But when the V era came out, all those decks had full on four copies of each card. That was amazing for me who didn't have a locals. The way, and they gave, oh my god, they gave Shadow Paladin a deck too, which made me so happy because of the fact that it's like, bro, I love Shadow Paladin. I've said it before, and the fact that I was able to get a Shadow Paladin deck with Blaster Dark in it was really cool. I like it felt like a dream come true. And it wasn't even just that. As we go down the line, my best friend at the time got the Shinimon deck, and he had a deck he really liked too. Like the accessibility to the decks were really cool. The force markers, well, just the markers in general, I'm not as big of a fan of. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of sucked that it's like you had to just use whatever. Like I didn't like force markers. I liked protect and excel more than force. But I love Shadow Paladin, so I had to use force. Like I like that Narukami got excel. So eventually when I got the Naoki deck that came out, that's when I probably started like, I was able to get more stuff. I was able to get that, and then I was able to use Excel. That was cool. But besides that, all the decks getting remade and everything was interesting because they were able to change up more abilities. Another thing I'll give it credit for is the fact that they were able to switch the order of certain things. That was really cool. My favorite being the order of the overlords to come out, because obviously the original series, the end came first, which sounds weird. But in this one, when Kai fights Ren, it's waterfall that comes first, Draconic Waterfall, and then it goes into the great, and then the end in the end, and then that bonus cross, whatever. But I'm not whatevering the cross, I'm whatevering the bonus, by the way. But so that was really cool seeing characters, you know, Their stories more told. I like that Ren got more spotlight to show his like family and everything like that. That was really cool. But besides that, like it was just okay plot wise. It was just a reboot. I did like that it followed the manga more, but it really wasn't much of a change, you know. So I'm gonna give season one okay, and season two goes right down here. This was so trash to me. Oh my god, I hate this season so much. Oh, this was my least favorite season of Vanguard, like period. Even more, I'm gonna put this here now too because this is also bad, but I still hate this more than this. This was ruined my favorite season of the show to this point. Like it was a remake of Link Joker basically, but without Link Joker because the only Link Joker decks was the leaders and then whatever the heck deck, the brand deck that Takuto had. You know, they had their stupid Cyqualia zombies, which made no sense to me because for some reason in the V era, Cyqualia wasn't an ability of drawing the cards you need. It was just drawing triggers. So then the whole bad guy's main deck, Takuto had the deck where it's like, oh yeah, reverse triggers. It was like, why? That's so stupid. Something else I really didn't like about the V era is that it didn't feel as free with the card game itself. Like every deck, they basically had a ride line. Like they wrote the same cards every single time. The only times I feel like that should be a thing is Aichi writing Blaster Blade and Ren writing Blaster Dark and Kai into Overlord. Well, actually, every character writing their main unit makes sense. But besides that, it was like the same, right? The Wingull, the Smoke. I forgot the first name of the Grade Zero for Aichi, but then it was Alan, Blaster Blade, Alfred, except like it's like the same exact ride line every single time. At least with standard, it's a ride deck, so it has to be like that. But it didn't feel as creative or free like that. There was also characters who won and lost times I don't think they should have won and lost. Ren, my goat, losing to Takuto was stupid because, like I said, Cyqualia isn't supposed to be just draw triggers, just draw the cards you need. Cyqualia should have been able to see the fact that triggers were reversed, but that was not the case. He lost to a heal trigger. That sucked. Or the final battle where it was Ren versus Aichi. Well, not the final battle, but the final battle between them. And Ren has a full hand of cards, and because he's getting a flashback of what's happening, like he just like a no guard and loses the fight. Also really stupid. Um, what else? Ibuki being in the season was actually pretty cool. I do like that since they weren't going to make the movie again. He had a lot of memes come out with him and his like face and everything like that, which is funny. I do like that they were able to dive into the story more and everything like that with him, Miwa, and Kai. Another thing I didn't like, I did not like Miwa's deck, by the way. I miss Seal Dragons for Miwa. But yeah, this season pretty trash. I hate it so much. Um, yeah, I don't have much more to say about that. Let's just get past this. Shinny Monarch, putting that right up there with great. Shinny Monarch saved the V era for me. That was such a good arc, such a good season. That Shinimon was fresh. It was something that wasn't a remake. And I really like that Shin was the main character, a character we known, but really didn't get to see any point of view of, or really know a lot about Shin in general. Like we saw a few things about Shin and G, talking about like his old team and Chrono's dad being his mentor and everything, but we didn't get to see as much of it. This let us see that, and it was really cool. This season is great. A part of me really wants to knock it down to good because of one thing. I mentioned earlier how my best friend at the time bought the Valkyrion deck, so we were able to fight with full decks. I hate Valkyrion so much because of that man. Like, he spammed Valkyrion so much on me, and I guess we didn't pay attention to the rules enough because he would get that 5 drive checks every single time by pulling it like that and then add 5 cards to his hand after that because it didn't go to soul for some reason. And he would get a force marker every turn, and that deck just didn't feel fair. If he wasn't dealing with the maid Uranus that had like 60 plus thousand power, then you had Valkyrion in the back, which was definitely just gonna kill you, and I feel like I had no chance fighting with the Dark Dictator against it. Like I couldn't buy packs or anything. The way I used to upgrade my decks was just to go on eBay and look up random like Vanguard Shadow Paladin bulk V era and just use whatever bulk to there to boost up my Shadow Paladin deck. And made it a boost. It boosted it, But you know, like this, I couldn't beat Valkyrion. So Valkyrion almost pushed it down for me. But besides that, the story amazing. The decks that came out also really cool. I know there were a lot of remake decks, obviously, but there was a lot of new ones that came out too, which is really cool. You know. So that season was great. I absolutely love it, and that was the highlight of the V era for me. But yeah, V era still sucked. Besides that, now we get to Overdress, and Overdress season one. What can I say about it? Overdress season one. A lot of people didn't like, and I don't blame them for not liking it because it wasn't a card game anime. It was an anime with a card game in it. You know, like it felt more of just a slice of life where a card game was something that the characters did, but it wasn't as important, you know? I think back to episodes like Donji doing the wrestling episode where he's wrestling, and then in between the match, playing the card game. That was super funny. My favorite part of the whole season was definitely the fight between Masanori, Masanori versus Zaxa, and then Toya versus Megumi, that like duo fight. Because I remember I legitimately got jump scared when Zorga, because we haven't seen a lot of like the units come out this season at all up to that point, and then the randomly like just seeing Zorga put its hand around Zox's neck, like that actually jump scared me. And I was like, what the heck? Like that was crazy. That was super intimidating. The art style was also really good, like the animation from here on out. This was a big change for a lot of people. That same best friend that I mentioned that I had, he didn't like Overdress at all, actually, because he misses like every single unit getting animated. And I know that was a deal breaker for a lot of people, but I didn't mind that as much. I actually prefer it now. You know, I do miss it whenever I rewatch the original series, but I do like physically seeing the card game being played like influenced me learning how to play the game a little better, you know? Like seeing like, oh, okay, he did this with this card. Okay, I see, I understand. I see the counterblast being used and everything like that, you know? That was really cool. I really like it. But, you know, besides that though, like I said, anime with a card game, not a card game anime. It was good. Uh, eh, it was okay. You know, there was a lot of highlights of it, but it wasn't as great as it gets. Now let's get Overdress season two and push that right up there to great. That season, goated. That's when it became a card game anime. So many highlights of that season. Mary specifically is amazing character. Love her so much. Bought Bob Cigar real quick, you know. I didn't even mention the overdress decks were all really cool. You know, it kind of continues because it's still overdress. All their decks came out, coming out were really cool. I love the way the game changed with Persona Ride. I like Persona Ride that it's still around, but you know not as much as Break Ride and everything because it doesn't feel as special. Because everything just has that, you know, it doesn't feel that crazy. You know, it's just a boost and a draw. But um, what's it called? Yeah, so the decks coming out were really cool. I loved Bastion. That was the deck I went with first. My friend that I had bought Saphira Snow. Of course, he bought Saphira Snow because he just loved to lock me down and not let me play the damn game, obviously, you know. And those are really cool decks to come out. Will Dress Season 2 gave that amazing fight of Masanori versus. Um, oh man. Oh man, I'm having a brain fart. Um, damn, what's her name? No, I forgot her name. She's such a goated character. Dang, I forgot her name. What's her name? Oh my God. Brief intermission, real quick. I'm looking her name because I cannot forget this right now. Um, 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 Tomori, Tomori, I think. Yeah, okay, Tomori. There you go. She's a good character. I'm having such a brain fart. Oh my God, I remember Saphira Snow before I remember her name. I love her and Zox's romance. That's also really cool. Zox is my goat, by the way. Like, I absolutely love him. And, you know, I want more Orphis. Please give me more Orphis. But, yeah, that fight was really good. I liked Donji being on the villain side because it turns out that's his sister. His whole story with Mary was really good. Mary was so intimidating too. Yeah, the deck's really cool. The season was much better paced and everything like that. Like I said, it went to now a card game anime. I do love a lot of like smaller moments too, like before they fight Team Daybreak, like they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go open packs." Like that's I really like that. That was really cool. Toya being the leader in this season gave him such a good like chance to show who he was, and I absolutely love that. I do love his fight against Donji too. That's really cool. So yeah, this season, great, love it right there. Now we get to Will Dress, and how would I put these 3 seasons? Will Dress season one, I give it was a good season. Will Dress season two, I'll give all three of them good. I definitely think season two is probably my least favorite of the three. Now, a lot of great decks were introduced. Dradjeweled, what's it called? Obviously Youthberg was a really big one. You know, oh man, I'm forgetting the deck's name too. Oh man, the trumpet deck that came out. The trio set, the trio star decks that came out with Dradjeweled, uh, Youthberg, and the other one. I'm forgetting its name right now. But that was a really cool deck too, with its gimmick and everything like that. The story was really cool too. It was just another tournament, it was just a tournament arc really. But I like that it had that whole like background of what's happening and everything like that. And then we get to season two where Almagestar is introduced. I love Almagestar, a really great deck as well. But besides that, like I can't really think of like as many other decks I liked as much as after those. Oh, their masks deck, that was a really cool gimmick. It felt like a chance to be reverse decks, just of like standard without being too crazy. Orphis masks, oh my god, it was so cool. I wanted it. I spent so much money to just get that deck. I had proxies obviously for a long time, but obviously when this was all happening, Orphis masks was like pretty pricey. Let alone Mask of High Dragon by itself. So yeah, I definitely spent a lot because Orphis was one of my favorite decks ever in general you know. But yeah, those were really cool. But it was also like, it had good character growth for Yu Yu and everything like that. Raika as a character was really cool. Urara as a character was also really good. Danji had some screen time, nothing too crazy. Michiru was also really great as an introduction. The pacing of the story was okay. Like I said, season two kind of fell off a little bit for me as much, but there was a lot of really good stuff in season two as well. The characters I already mentioned, and yeah, that's about my thoughts on Will Dress. I like the villain too. AI being the villain is really funny, but yeah. So I give these all good seasons. I don't like them as much as Overdress season two, or probably as much as the seasons following, but I think it was pretty good seasons. Now we get to Divines. And I'm not going to lie, Divine Season 1 is what I consider the best first season of the era of anime. Like, between OG Vanguard Season 1, V Era Season 1, Divines was honestly S tier to me. I absolutely love Divines. I have a poster of this on my wall right now as we speak. The decks, absolutely love them. I like Raziel, great. Varga, still one of my favorite decks in the game right now. Period. Like if I say my top five overall, I would obviously have my Eradicators, Liberators, Revengers up there. The Vaser would be up there because that's my favorite deck. And then Varga would be there. Varga's an amazing deck. Blangmeyer also really cool, super busted, really great. Uh, I wasn't really a Zorga fan, but Zorga Nagar was also really cool. Taizo, such a go-to character, and Welstra, I still want to build a Welstra deck super bad. Arstaria, no Arstaria, that's not. Chris Rain, I'm not really a Lego player, so I really didn't care as much about Chris Rain, but it was still really interesting to see. Like if I was to build a Lyrica deck, I would build Chris Rain. Raziel obviously was really cool too. That was the one my former best friend chose. He liked the whole critical stacking and healing thing because he had really good luck. I really think he just didn't really shuffle his deck really good because he drew what he needed all the time. But yeah, I think those were really cool. The plot of the season was amazing. It was a big tournament arc, but it was to see like what characters would get it. The highlight of the season for me was definitely Hikari because oh my god, her story was so sad and everything. She was such an amazing character. Oh man, I didn't even mention Leon Morta. That's a character. I gotta buy the master deck set for those too, for both of the Hikaris. Yeah, Hikari and Erica. I gotta say her name. I'm so used to saying Hikari though. But yeah, like I absolutely love their decks, their stories, all amazing, 100%. Pacing was great, no filler. It was way down, more down to the point. Especially that I also didn't have as much episodes of the old thing, so it was really locked in throughout the most of it. Then we get Divine Season 2, and that goes to good for me. I don't like it as much as Season 1. I think it had a lot of good moments. The Destined ones were all really cool to see. The Faded King and Destined Kings were all really cool. Seeing Varga get Rakshasa, Raziel Vita. Levidress was one of my favorite decks to come out ever. Same thing with Aqua Libra. I was hoping Varga would be the Destined King since, Malworm Sybil, I was like, when the art came out for Raziel Vita and then um, Rakshasa, I thought it was the Destined King of Unparalleled Varga. I thought I was really excited for that. But then we got the Destined King of Levidras, which I still like more now. So that's really cool. Um, all the characters being connected to all the other characters was really cool. It was funny seeing Jinky come back from Masanori, to reveal more about this mysterious character and what he was really doing there. Taizo and Kiyoma were really great. I love their dynamic, and I want to build. I already have an Aqua Libra deck, but I still want to build Welstra just to have that duo there. Kuon and Suo. I didn't even mention Suo for Divine Season 1. I forgot. His story was really good too. I do absolutely love how it ended for him and how, of Season 1 and then Season 2 showed him like continuing on that growth. That was really cool. Um, the season was really good for me, but I just didn't like it as much as Season 1. And then Season 3 is also going into good for the same reasons. Good season, not as great to me. I was just again, well, all of Divines is basically a tournament arc. Let's be real here. I can't even say it's just another tournament arc. It's like Divines in general is just tournament arc. But seeing the deluxe was really cool to see all those old characters come back with their new decks. Rika with Youth Berk. You had Miri with Bob Sagara. You had Guy with Dragon Tree. All those old characters coming back. It also introduced my favorite deck in standard right now, that being Vase Ruger in the main goat. Oh my god, the main gate. Vase Ruger in the main goat, the Moon Gate. There you go. Kagetsu is a great character as well. I wish we got to see more of him. I absolutely love the mischiefs and everything like that. It was fun because it's like just a card that supports the Vanguard instead of just a new Vanguard. That was really cool. I was really hoping that Vase Ruger would get a new form down the line, but we did not. But it was cool to see more mischiefs and everything like that. So the season gets good. My favorite fight of that whole season was definitely um, Akina versus Kuon. That fight was just so good. Oh my gosh, that fight was just amazing. I absolutely love the fact that Kuhn was like, "No, I just don't want to lose to you." He was locked in and everything, showing why he was chosen to be the Destined King. Akina was there, like, "Oh man, like there's than one way to make a miracle," showing everything he's learned and stacking back 7 criticals was amazing to see. So that was really cool. That you know that was all really cool and everything like that. All the older decks coming back was really good. The pacing was okay, nothing too crazy. It was just episode per episode. Nothing too crazy. Then we get to the. I kind of just got to clump this with it, to be honest. It was literally part of the same story again. It was just the finals. I didn't really care about Rika. I think it was Rika. I forgot her name. But like her whole story with Kagetsu seemed really cool leading up to it, and then we just heard nothing else from it afterwards. It was like, oh, you're this man's whole motivation, and he just lost to you, and just went along the way. So I was like, okay, that's whatever. I didn't really like her deck either. I hope she gets a Phantom version for her deck so that we could have a more interesting deck to play. Kagetsu, that was the third mischief was revealed. That was really cool. Um, that fight between Suo and Erica was amazing for me. That was my favorite of that season for sure. And if you see my AMV, that's probably the AMV I listen to the most because I love using Failure in that song by Breaking Benjamin since that's my favorite band. So that's really cool to look back at. Michiru getting Dreadful Magnus was really good. His fight against Miri was really great. And Akina versus Hikari for the final fight was really good. I was really hoping for, I keep saying Hikari, Erica. I was really hoping for Erica to win, but sadly she did not. So, I guess I was really hoping for her to win. But yeah, it was also good. Again, not great. I don't think it's as okay as the other ones because I do like it more than that because I was excited to see it. But yeah, it's probably like these are probably bottom of the barrel for good for me, along with Wildress Season 2. And probably Asia Circuit's up there too. And now we have the most recent season, and that is going straight to okay. Now this season had a few highlights for me. The mischiefs, the mischiefs were great as well. Every character getting the mischiefs, of the good guys side. I mean, it got to expand that more. See different decks get one. Varga got one. I hated that Blankmeyer got one. Like Chris Rain got one, which was really cool. I did not like that. Like Blankmeyer get one. I already mentioned that. I don't like that. It felt unnecessary for Blankmeyer, in my opinion. You know, but that's a big thing about this season. Like the main characters should have stood the main characters with Akina, now, Makoto, what's Kumi and Kumi and brain fart again. Konami. There you go. Kumi and Konami, or Konami. There you go. Konami. It should have stayed between them and just kept going with them, with all the missions and everything. But I guess some people had to lose, and of course it was Now and Makoto that had to lose. The characters people wanted to see more of because they were super excited for. But yeah, it's like I wasn't really feeling as much for that side. My goats, Kagetsu lost to Kanumi. Kanumi, right? Kanumi? Yes. Karumi. Oh my god, I keep forgetting. I keep mispronouncing the names. I'm generally so sorry. That fight was really good, and that fight was probably the most emotional for me because I'm not a religious person, but the way that she knew she died, she came back to life and everything, and the way she was like, God gave me this turn, like I couldn't even be mad at her for like winning because of that heel trigger and the over trigger. Like that hit so deep. That was such a good fight. That was definitely my favorite fight of the season. But Ryuga was a great character to come out of this as well. I wish we saw more of him. Alphard was really cool. And speaking of Alphard, the Phantoms in general, I think they were so much better than the masks, and honestly, even the reverse units for me. Like I love the fact that it's just a complete retrain of whatever deck it was. Youthberg was definitely my favorite, going from Keter to Dragon Empire that became the Knights, the Dragon Slayer, super cool. Alphard getting that remake, even though I don't even remember what the original Alphard was, super cool. Same thing with Zorga. Zorga Phantom was really cool as well. It's probably my second favorite one there, to be honest. Seeing the whole mad science is really cool. Taizo in the manga got the whole wave Aquaforce, which was really cool as well. Astaria got the whole Gear Chronicle one, again, really cool. I absolutely love the Phantoms, and I hope more than any other of those other form changing stuff that they keep making Phantom decks, because it's like, even if you want to be lazy Bushi, like just like, oh yeah, like, oh, I don't know what new decks to make, how about we just remake an old deck? Give me more Orfist, please. But I really want more Orphist. But yeah, it had a few highlights with stuff like the stuff I mentioned, but it really feels like Akina or if you weren't Akina or oh my god, Karumi, you weren't really as important as the rest of them. I guess Hakari too was there, and it was Hakari slash Erica because it was both of them combined. But yeah, it's like it felt like everyone else was just they lost, whatever. No character felt important. Suo returning just to get the mischief pissed me off a lot, obviously, because why did we need a Blamemeyer mischief? Why you really couldn't let anybody else win? I don't know. Like there was a lot of downsides of the season. I've mentioned all my dislikes before, so I'm not gonna keep rambling more about it. But yeah, this is because of the highlights though, I couldn't give it F. I could give it D for mid, but I feel like the Phantoms by itself pushes it up for me to that okay, you know? So yeah, this is my tier list, guys. So let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you if you guys stood to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down below other videos and everything that you would like to see. As you could probably tell, this is unscripted. I am just talking about each of these seasons like that. So I really do appreciate the support and everything like that. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, etc. like that. Like I said already, let me know what else you want to see. Let me know your tier list too. What are your S tiers and what are your F tiers? What do you think of my things? And of course, obviously, it's my tier list though. So please don't hate on me too bad if I maybe put something you liked or disliked higher or lower than you may have said yourself personally. Like my goat Sammy J says, it's my list. I can't miss. It's just my opinion. Everyone's free to have their own, of course. So don't argue with people in the comments. Have good, fun little debates. But yeah, like I said, hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day.